Look around you. Mediocrity is everywhere celebrated, normalized, even rewarded. You're surrounded by people who gave up on their dreams the moment they got comfortable, and if you're not careful, you'll be one of them. You wake up tired, you scroll, you complain, you do the bare minimum, praying for success to just show up. But life doesn't care. It punishes the weak. It laughs at the lazy. This isn't about motivation. This is a warning. You're running out of time. The world is moving. The clock is ticking. And if you're not sprinting, you're already behind. You think you're in control. You're not. Your job owns you. Your vices chain you. Your fear paralyzes you. The system feeds on your weakness. So what now? Now you rise. Now you rip off the safety net. Take the hits and dominate your own life. No more waiting. No more softness. No more mediocrity. This is the beginning, but only if you're done being average. You've been lied to your whole life. Weakness is acceptable. Comfort is your right. Average is the new normal. You wake up to alarm clocks that you hit snooze 3 times, telling yourself you need the rest, as if time owes you favors. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow, Monday, next month. Whatever keeps you from facing the fact that today, right now, you're choosing comfort over conquest. Excuses are your anesthetic, numbing you to the pain of stagnation. If you want to stop being average, you have to amputate every excuse as soon as it surfaces. Every time you say, "I can't," you hand ownership of your life to someone else. You relinquish control to circumstances, to genetics, to the weather, to what you're in the mood for. You've convinced yourself that greatness is something you stumble into, not something you claim. Newsflash, greatness doesn't fall in your lap like free candy. It's carved out of raw ambition, relentless drive, and a refusal to let comfort kill your potential. When you reject weakness, you reject every whimpering voice in your head telling you to play small and be happy with crumbs. Comfort is the silent killer of dreams. It seduces you with soft sheets, endless scrolling, and half-hearted promises of later. Comfort is a prison cell gilded with instant gratification. You've probably felt that sting of regret when another hour vanishes in front of a screen, another week slips by in excuses, another year dissolves into what-ifs. That's comfort taunting you, daring you to stay asleep. But when you reject comfort, you rip those bars off your wrists. You realize that burning away the easy path is the first step toward forging your own. Average people are terrified of discomfort. They shy away from the gym because they don't want sore muscles. They avoid deadlines because they don't want stress. They settle for safe jobs because they're afraid of failure. They're allergic to anything that challenges their cozy routines. But discomfort is the precursor to change. Discomfort is the crucible where willpower is tempered. You have to seek it out. Embrace the sting of cold showers, the burn of heavy lifts, the agony of early mornings, because that's how you strengthen your mind. Excuses are the easiest thing in the world to manufacture. I don't have time. I'm not talented enough. The market is too competitive. You can find 50 reasons why you won't make it, but not a single reason why you should. The weak construct elaborate justifications to explain away every opportunity. The strong look at obstacles and see stepping stones. They don't magically possess more talent. They just refuse to let excuses dictate their reality. If you can breathe, you have enough time. If you can think, you have enough talent. If you can act, you can create your own market. Rejection of weakness isn't some fluffy pep talk. It's a declaration of war against every comfort you cling to. It's a vow that you will get up when your alarm screams, that you will work when everyone else is resting, that you will sacrifice fleeting pleasures for lasting victory. It means staring at your reflection and acknowledging every flaw, then training, learning, evolving until those flaws are nothing but faded scars. It's about turning pain into fuel, setbacks into blueprints, and criticism into fire. This fight isn't a weekend hobby, it's a daily commitment. It's dragging yourself out of bed at 4:30 a.m. to train, educate yourself, build your empire. It's staring down temptation, junk food, mindless entertainment, instant comfort, and choosing the harder right over the easier wrong. It's making a pact that mediocrity will never define you. You will not be a passenger in your own life. You will be the driver, the architect, the storm. You will cut off every excuse, reject every comfort, and demand more than average for yourself. Because anything less is a betrayal of your own potential. You've been lulled into believing there's always more time, as if life hands out extra hours and bonus days on demand. You wake each morning with a pause button at your fingertips, convinced that tomorrow's sunrise will offer a fresh slate. But here's the brutal truth: tomorrow isn't guaranteed. Time doesn't care about your schedule, your plans, or your comfort. It flows relentlessly, indifferent to your excuses, indifferent to your fears. Every second you waste waiting for the right moment is a second you'll never get back. You can't bargain with the clock, you can't negotiate with opportunity, and you can't rewind the tape once the scene has passed. While you debate whether to start, someone else is already moving. While you weigh risks, someone else is reaping rewards. While you hesitate, someone else is building an empire. The world doesn't pause for indecision. It devours the tentative and elevates the decisive. If you're waiting for a sign, this is it. If you're looking for a reason, this is it. If you're hoping for a guarantee, there are none. What you have is the present moment. Pure, unfiltered potential waiting to be claimed. And if you don't seize it, someone with less talent and more hunger will. Your comfort zone is a graveyard of dreams. It whispers, rest a little longer. Wait until conditions improve. You're not ready yet. Those are the death knells of ambition. Every day you defer action, you erect another barrier between where you are and where you want to be. Action delayed is action denied. You can't catch up on lost time. You can't make up for the hours spent scrolling, snoozing, procrastinating. The real cost isn't measured in minutes or days, but in lost momentum, deflated confidence, and opportunities slipping through your fingers like sand. Urgency isn't about panic. It's about clarity. It's about sharpening your focus until distractions fall away. It's about waking up with purpose burning in your veins, about setting your alarm clock as an ally, not an enemy. It's about harnessing that tightness in your gut that tells you this is it, that every choice you make from this point decides your future. When urgency takes hold, you stop dreaming and start doing. You stop rationalizing and start prioritizing. You stop hoping and start executing. There's a relentless pace to success, an internal clock that counts every moment you delay. You think the person you admire waited for perfect conditions. They created them. They turned now into then by acting immediately, by leaning into discomfort, by treating every moment as a precious, irreplaceable resource. When you operate with true urgency, you learn to sprint through setbacks, to pivot without hesitation, to strike while the iron is red hot. You learn that speed is a strategy, not a byproduct. You can't predict markets. You can't control the economy. You can't postpone life's curveballs. But you can control your response, your pace, your willingness to move before you feel ready. You can set deadlines for yourself that terrify you, and then you can obliterate them. You can force your body and mind into action before motivation arrives, knowing that momentum will carry you forward once you begin. Because here's another truth: action breeds motivation far more reliably than the other way around. Imagine a world in which every moment mattered as much as the next. Picture yourself looking back years from now and realizing you became unstoppable the day you embraced urgency. Not because the circumstances were perfect, but because you decided that waiting was a luxury you could no longer afford. You decided that the second your heart started racing at the thought of taking a risk, you would take it. You decided that every waking hour was an opportunity to outwork everyone who doubted you. There will never be a safer time. There will never be a better preparation. There will never be more energy, more clarity, more reasons than right this second. Life waits for no one. The world rewards the bold, the swift, the relentless. If you continue to treat time like an endless commodity, you'll be left holding an empty wallet of regret. So throw away the crutches of procrastination. Let urgency be your compass and your engine. Move now, or watch your dreams move without you. You wake up every morning under the illusion that you are free, free to choose, free to act, free to shape your destiny. But Every moment you surrender control, you're handing the reins over to someone or something else. Your job, your habits, your fears, even your social media feed. Control isn't some abstract concept reserved for tyrants or CEO. It's the most basic currency of life. Without it, you're spinning in circles, lost in a whirlwind of external demands, default settings, and other people's agendas. Whenever you allow your to-do list to dictate your day instead of your vision, you're relinquishing power. When you let your inbox, your boss, or your friends decide your priorities, you become a passenger on your own journey. Imagine two men standing at a crossroads. One man grabs the map, instinctively snatches the steering wheel, and turns onto the road less traveled, eyes set on a horizon of possibilities. The other hesitates, hoping someone else will point him in the right direction, trusting that the road signs will lead him somewhere worthwhile. Which man do you think ends up shaping his own fate? The truth is, every moment you refuse to seize control, you empower indecision. You become susceptible to detours mapped out by fear rather than ambition. You end up on roads paved by other people's expectations, rather than brick by brick of your own design. Control means setting your own rules. It means waking up at 5 a.m. because you decided that's when you're at your best, not because your alarm blares at 7 a.m. It means placing your body under stress, lifting weights, pounding the pavement, hammering the keyboard, rather than allowing comfort to lull you into complacency. Control means deciding what enters your mind, dictating the input you consume, and ruthlessly filtering out everything that doesn't serve your purpose. When you watch hours of meaningless videos, scroll through curated highlight reels, and sip on other people's opinions, you give away power. You dilute your focus, weaken your resolve, and train your brain to crave distraction. Control is also about mastering your emotions. You will face setbacks, insults, betrayals, and failures. You must choose whether to let those experiences crush you or to harness them as fuel. If you allow every slight, real or imagined, to dictate your mood, to govern your energy levels, to derail your progress, you will always be at the mercy of external forces. But if you learn to recognize the storm brewing inside you, acknowledge it, and then steer through it, you become the captain of your emotional ship. You decide when to engage and when to stand firm. You convert anger into drive, disappointment into discipline, and fear into relentless action. There's a razor's edge between control and obsession, and you have to walk it carefully. You need enough obsession to drown out the noise, but enough flexibility to pivot when strategy demands it. Real power comes from knowing when to press forward and when to adapt. It's not blind stubbornness. It's a calculated insistence on your terms, a disciplined approach that leaves no loophole for excuses. You inventory your goals, dissect them, and relentlessly run through them until they're reflexive. Then you challenge your own systems, shake them up, rebuild them stronger, faster, smarter. When you dominate your life, you reclaim time. You decide when you work and when you rest. You dictate how you grow and where you focus. You choose the battles worth fighting and ignore the rest. You become a force of nature because you no longer waste energy on what doesn't matter. Your energy is concentrated, like sunlight through a magnifying glass, capable of igniting tinder with a single beam. But if you scatter your focus, answering every email, replying to every message, entertaining every thought, you dilute your power. You burn out instead of burning bright. People who wield control effectively are not accidental conquerors. They are architects, drafting blueprints for their days, their weeks, their years. They build routines that double as armor against chaos. They schedule deep work sessions like appointments with destiny. They declare periods of digital silence, sacred blocks of time where creativity and execution thrive, and when the world intrudes, because it always does, they push back with boundaries, with polite but firm refusals. They protect their attention as though it were the lifeblood of their empire, because it is. Control also manifests in the relationships you choose. You can't allow others' drama, envy, or laziness to infiltrate your space. You decide who earns your trust, who gets your time, and who gets your loyalty. You'll find that the more control you assert over your personal ecosystem, the more essential people rally around your cause. Allies arrive because they see someone who knows what he wants and goes after it without hesitation. They feel safer and more energized around someone who doesn't crumble under pressure, someone who sets the pace rather than chasing after the herd. Dominating your life is non-negotiable if you want to win on your terms. It's a continuous process of checking in with yourself, auditing your commitments, and adjusting the sails to catch the winds of opportunity. It's a daily battle against drift, against the gravitational pull of easy choices. You can't afford to sleepwalk through your potential. You can't let the hands of the clock shove you forward without purpose. So every morning, look in the mirror, remind yourself that control is power, and recommit to being the one who holds the reins. Failure to do so guarantees that someone else will, and in that exchange, you lose the one asset you can never reclaim, yourself. You've been fed the lie that the system is fair, that if you work hard and follow the rules, success will find you. That's the biggest con of all. The reality is that every institution, from schools to corporations to governments, is engineered to reward compliance, complacency, and conformity. It thrives on your willingness to stay glued to your screen, to accept mediocre paychecks, to trust that someone in a suit genuinely has your best interests at heart. The system's gears are greased by your distractions, your social media likes, your binge watching, your appetite for tiny hits of dopamine that keep you numb and obedient. Every time you allow yourself to drift into the crowd, to become another face in the cubicle farm or another thumb scroller in the endless feed, the system wins. It feeds off your complacency, using it as fertilizer to grow its own power. You're told to sit quietly, to nod your head during meetings, to spend 40 years climbing a ladder that ends at a corner office you don't even want. You're promised stability, security, a respectable life. But the system doesn't care if your soul is rotting. It only cares about efficiency and profit. Your labor, your data, your attention, they're all commodities and you're the product. They train you to believe that discomfort is dangerous, that questioning authority is risky, that loyalty to the brand is somehow loyalty to yourself. Meanwhile, they siphon off your dreams, your best years, your creativity, and market them back to you as solutions to the problems they created. When you wake up each morning and mindlessly follow routines dictated by corporate memos or public opinion, you're handing power to the architects of this rigged game. You clock in, you clock out, you consume what they sell you, and you repeat, all without demanding more for yourself. You internalize the idea that someone else's plan for you is better than your own plan. You let algorithms curate your world. So your attention never strays far from their carefully crafted distractions. Every viral video, every clickbait headline, every curated news feed is a brick in the wall they build around your mind, and the more you indulge, the higher the wall becomes. The system is designed to isolate you, to convince you that you're alone in your struggle, that change is a solo battle. But real power comes from knowing who you are, what you want, and refusing to let external forces script your story. When you recognize the rigged nature of the game, you stop playing by its cheap rules. You pull back the curtain and see the hidden hands pulling the strings. Then you decide to write your own script. You refuse to be a pawn on a board where every move has been calculated to keep you small and predictable. You decide to be the player, not the piece. They teach you to value comfort above all else, to chase leisure and avoid risk. But that's how they keep you compliant. You must embrace discomfort, uncertainty, and risk if you're ever going to break their chains. You must become the anomaly in the dataset, the outlier they can't classify. You must stare at the face of your fears, the fear of failure, the fear of judgment, the fear of the unknown, and then step forward anyway. Because the moment you choose discomfort over comfort, the system loses its grip on you. The moment you embrace chaos instead of compliance, you start rewriting the rules in your favor. The rigged system doesn't crumble overnight, and it doesn't surrender willingly. It fights back with bureaucracy, red tape, social pressure, and economic tactics designed to keep you indebted. Financially, mentally, emotionally. They distract you with the promise of quick fixes, get rich, quick schemes, miracle diets, instant influencers. They sell you shiny illusions so you never notice the chains hidden beneath, but you can't be fooled forever. You have to see the matrix for what it is. You have to reject the narrative that your value is measured by your 9 to 5, your follower count, or your credit score. You measure your worth by the ambitions you dare to pursue and the sacrifices you're willing to make. When you begin to see through their smoke and mirrors, you reclaim your time. You reclaim your attention. You reclaim your narrative. You stop paying rent in their mental real estate, your mind, and you start building your own empire. Suddenly, the rules no longer apply. The ladders they built lose their appeal. You construct your own path, one that bends toward freedom rather than conformity. You set your own terms for victory, drawing up a contract with yourself that stipulates no half measures, no compromises, no excuses. This isn't a polite request. This is a declaration of war against the entire apparatus built to keep you average. You're not here to follow their playbook. You're here to write your own, and while they continue playing checkers, you're mastering chess. So strip away the illusions, tear down the walls of distraction, and dismantle the rigged game piece by piece. They built it to break you. Now it's your turn to break it, and build something that serves you on your own terms. You've been programmed to wait for a hero to swoop in and save you, as if your life is a movie and someone else holds the script. That's a trap. The world doesn't care about your rescue fantasies. It rewards those who storm the battlefield themselves. Adopting an alpha mindset means you stop hoping for a knight in shining armor and become the warrior forging his own destiny. You decide today that you're not a passive observer in your own story, waiting for luck or fate to fix what you haven't bothered to tackle yourself. You are the author, the director, and the lead actor. When you embrace this mindset, you reject victimhood. You no longer attribute your failures to bad breaks or cruel circumstances. Instead, you own every decision you make, every misstep you take, and every success you celebrate. You recognize that blaming others is a luxury reserved for those too weak to fight for what they want. If your past haunts you, you transform it into a training ground. If the odds are stacked against you, you stack your willpower higher. You stop looking for rescue ropes when you can build your own ladder rattling with every determined step. An alpha mindset demands action, not affirmation. Compliments and encouragement are fleeting. Achievements are permanent. You don't spend hours crafting motivational quotes for your social feed when you could have spent those hours grinding toward your goals. While others wait for validation, you collect results. You become the standard that others measure themselves against. You wake up each morning with a list of tasks that terrify the complacent, and you tackle them without seeking permission. You calibrate your own moral compass and hold yourself accountable to it every second of every day. This mentality transforms how you approach fear. Fear is a signal, not a stop sign. It tells you where the rewards lie, where growth waits, and where your comfort zone ends. Every time your palms sweat, your heart pounds, and your mind races, you know you're on the edge of something worth pursuing. You lean into that sensation. You refuse to let it paralyze you. You're not looking for guarantees. You're seeking challenges because you know challenges forge character. While most people retreat at the first hint of risk, you step forward, fists clenched and spine straight, ready to wrestle life into submission. An alpha mindset also means caring fiercely about your standards. You set rules for your diet, your training, your relationships, and you break them only if the benefits outweigh the cost. You don't negotiate with mediocrity in business deals, workout routines, or personal commitments. When you promise yourself something, you treat it as sacrosanct. If you say you'll train at dawn, you train at dawn, regardless of how comfortable your bed feels. If you vow to build your business empire, you work nights, weekends, and every breath in between. Your discipline becomes your signature, your reputation built on consistency, not empty words. You cultivate unshakable confidence, not the arrogance of those born on top, but the quiet certainty of someone who's earned every inch of ground. You prepare for every outcome, anticipating setbacks and engineering solutions before problems even arise. You don't wait for mentors to hand you wisdom. You devour books, you study your opponents, you test strategies and learn from every failure. Your confidence doesn't rely on applause. It emerges from an internal ledger of risks taken and battles won. You stare challenges in the face and recognize them as familiar opponents you've overcome before. Finally, the alpha mindset is contagious when you carry yourself like a conqueror. Shoulders back, eyes focused, voice calm but firm. You draw the kind of people who match your energy. You become the center of gravity for ambitious allies, the benchmark for those seeking guidance, and the catalyst for collective success. You don't lead by popularity, you lead by performance. Your circle tightens around people who respect your standards and challenge you to raise them further. And together, you form an unstoppable force that no obstacle, no system, and no skeptics can stand against.